Our NFL division ranking series. We only have 2 divisions left, and today we're moving on to the AFC West. A little bit of a difference in what Steve and I thought this list was going to be the order for. We got it figured out. We got a good list for you. And without further ado, we are going to get right into it. Starting off at the bottom and working our way up, number 4, the worst team in this division, the Denver Broncos. Maybe a hot take with Russell Wilson at quarterback and Sean Peyton coming in, but we have some reasons to explain it. So first and foremost, 5-12 this past season, the 21st ranked offense, but the 7th ranked defense, bringing back a large chunk of that defense this season. Russell Wilson's weird, man. I don't think we're going to see the Seattle Russell Wilson ever again.
Oh.
And I know, Steve, you're going to talk a little bit about Sean Peyton in a second, but I don't know if it's not so much a Sean Payton is enough, but if Russell Wilson is too much, like he's out there with his arms out swaying and listening to the wind, like speaking in tongues. He's just he's that try hard in gym class that yells at all the guys to do better, which it's the NFL. I get it, but we all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. So I just don't know if it's enough to overcome. And Denver is one of those franchises kind of like Cleveland for the last few years, but not to the same extent of just a lot of losing. I don't really know what their culture is besides a good defense, and that to me isn't a culture. They have no true wide receiver 1, I don't think. Maybe those guys would be good number 2s, but they're just not good enough ones. Like I said, defense is as good as always, one of the best secondaries in the league, but I just don't think they're good enough to be over these 3 other teams, putting them 4th in the AFC West.
They have the 7th ranked defense, but they just lost their defensive coordinator and Bradley Chubb to the Miami Dolphins. And that's definitely a loss because Fangio is known as one of the top 5 defensive coordinators in the NFL. That's definitely going to make an impact. The Broncos, Sean Peyton, listen, Sean Peyton is a fantastic coach, proven pedigree coach. When he was with the Saints, they were always contenders at some point in time, but he also had Drew Brees, and that's a large portion of the success that you have out there. But Sean Payton is a proven winning coach. He knows something about culture. You remember after Katrina hit down in New Orleans, Sean Payton really used that football team to help rile that community up, and they won a Super Bowl. When you have a team that's just so young and your quarterback is 3 years out of his prime, I'm just not putting much stock in your ability to. Now, I'm not saying that the 3rd place team is head and shoulders better than them, but I'm saying that they're definitely better in the areas that you need to be better.
So yeah, we got the Denver Broncos at number 4 in this division, which brings us to number 3, and that is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Oakland Raiders. I said it in my head, and I was like, nope, that's not what they are anymore. The Las Vegas Raiders. 6-11 last season, 12th offense, 28th ranked defense. Not really great for them. It had been speculated if Josh Jacobs was going to come back, if he was going to sit out, what his situation was. So the Raiders did activate the franchise tag. He will be with them this season, will be an unrestricted free agent in the 24 offseason. So, but he hasn't really came to any training camp stuff yet. We'll see if there's some conflict when the season starts with the chemistry, or it's been reported that he's either going to just take what they have begrudgingly, or if he's going to come back and they work around a new contract. We'll see. But no matter what, he's going to be Raider. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not a Jimmy G fan. I said this to Steve before the show. Jimmy G to me is the top of the line bridge quarterback, meaning he's a little bit too good to be a backup. He's not good enough to be your franchise quarterback. But when you're looking for a big name free agent to come there, to draft someone who you think is going to be your franchise quarterback, whatever the case may be, you want to make a trade, Jimmy G is a good placeholder. So I think he'll do just fine, average at best, right? Their defense was a huge disaster last year. They've picked up some defensive linemen and bulked up the defense in the draft. Steve, you look confused.
Yeah, no, keep going. I'm sorry. I'm Googling something right now. I wanted to know something. Keep going.
I just feel that they were better than the Broncos. I think they I have less question marks and less concerns about the Raiders than the Broncos, but I agree with what you're saying that they're not going to be a whole lot better than Denver, but I think they have a better chance of being a playoff team than the Broncos do. I'll say that. But that just sits them firmly at our number 3 spot.
The Raiders, to me, have the potential to be good with the right quarterback. Jimmy G's not the right quarterback, but Jimmy G, to me, emulates a Ryan Fitzpatrick-esque type of quarterback where he's a bridge quarterback. He's not a starter. He's not a guy that's going to take you to the Super Bowl and win, but he's a guy that's going to be a placeholder. Like when Ryan Fitzpatrick came in and filled in for Tua when he was on the Dolphins. He did an okay job. I want to believe in Josh Jacobs, but I also just don't believe in Josh McDaniels as a head coach. I'm not a Josh McDaniels guy. So to me, the Raiders are going to be 500 is a great season for them this year. I would put them more around like what they were last year, like a 6-11. That's probably even like a 7-9. But like, I mean, I'm sorry, 7-10. But like, I'm not bought in on the Raiders, but they are, like we've said, clearly better than the Broncos. So
yeah, and just quickly, I again want to make clear I don't like Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G is not a good quarterback, but also be fair to him, I think he's a step above Ryan Fitzpatrick in the sense of like, is he gonna come down and hit game-winning drives or hit deep passes or call audibles because he's reading defenses like crazy? No. Is he going to go out there and throw into triple coverage because he knows that Devontae Adams is the best receiver? I don't think he's that dumb. I'm not saying that
Ryan Fitzpatrick is.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that Jimmy G is like dog water, but he's certainly not, like I said, not your franchise quarterback. He's just good enough to keep you afloat. But you're not signing Jimmy G for more than 2 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think with that, like we said, we had the Raiders just above the Broncos, but they're number 3 on this list, which brings us to number 2, the Los Angeles Chargers. 9th in offense, 20th on defense, lost to Jacksonville in the wild card round in a historic fashion, up 27-0. I don't know if you remember, Steve, in the second half and blew it. Ended up losing, like I just said, by 1 point. Largest playoff loss in Los Angeles Chargers history. What does LA need to do to make large improvements to maybe eventually, probably not for a long time, but maybe be number 1 in this division or at least get a little closer? So I don't know what LA's identity is. So a couple seasons ago, they had built up this team and this defense. Khalil Mack was a big part of it when they got him, and like, we're gonna beat the Chargers. We have this all-time good, not all-time good, but just really good defense.
You mean
what?
Beat the Chiefs?
What did I say?
Chargers.
Beat the Chiefs. Yeah, excuse me. We have Justin Herbert, the young stud, gonna lead us to greatness, and then of course they fall flat. Then last season they were known as maybe going to be a good team, kind of going to have a rebound, but they were hurt. They had a lot of people to injuries. They were one of, if not the most injury-riddled team in the NFL last season. Now, this season, I still don't really know what they're going to be. Like, I don't know what to think about Jacksonville. I don't know about LA. I don't know what their storyline is. And all we know about is, or they're only consistent, is Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert set an NFL record with 102 offensive touchdowns in his first 3 years. Okay. Record. He is second in NFL history behind only your boy Dan Marino for most touchdown passes in 3 years. Okay. He has a 287.5 career passing yards per game, which ranks second all time. So he averages 287.5 yards a game, only behind Patrick Mahomes. Okay. Those are all the things Justin Herbert has done so far in his young NFL life. And yet I don't know what the Chargers are going to look like. The Chargers need to do a lot of soul searching and find themselves. And until they figure that out, they're going to stay at number 2 on this list for a while.
What do the Chargers need to do to take a step? Well, I would say they are pretty much always going to be guaranteed a wild card spot. I would say that they will
Probably at least, yeah.
probably always be in the wild card. Now, what does it last year? They were smashing the Jaguars. I want to believe that Justin Herbert is going to learn from that, because a loss like that can make or break you. A loss like that can weigh heavy on your mind. It can change the way you look at things. It stays there. So what I need to see is, does Justin Herbert have a short memory? And also, the Chargers have one of the best multi-purpose backs in the NFL in Austin Eckler.
Mm-hmm.
He's a stud. I like watching him. He catches the ball. He's not as good as McCaffrey, but as far as multi-purpose backs, he's probably second in the league. The Chargers will never, as long as Mahomes is in this division, win this division. But that doesn't mean that they can't make a deep playoff run. So I believe that last year was a fluke. I believe that Justin Herbert is going to take a step this year.
Yep, I agree. And like I said, until they kind of figure out, like, I don't know what their identity is besides we have Justin Herbert, but that's
exactly
not an identity to me. Yeah.
No.
So and you have a good point. As long as Mahomes is alive and breathing in that division, they're not winning, and that's not all their fault, but it's just the reality of the situation. So it's the Los Angeles Chargers. Well, I almost said San Diego Chargers. A lot of name flips in this division. Now, San Diego to LA, Oakland to Las Vegas. Yeah. So the LA Chargers at number 2. So very obviously number 1 in this division, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretty easy answer. Really no brainer. 14-3 last season, the number 1 offense in football, the number 11 defense in football, winning the Super Bowl last year against the Philadelphia Eagles. And what we are witnessing in Kansas City is the start of, if not already, started a mini dynasty. Being in the Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 years, winning it 2 of those times. Patrick Mahomes is what we believe already a top 5 quarterback of all time. Can he go higher and climb? I don't know. We'll see, but probably. Travis Kelce is quickly becoming one of the best tight ends ever. He's becoming one of the best offensive catchers in playoff history as a tight end. That's a really special title, I feel like. So can he get higher? Can he get better? I don't know, but probably. Andy Reid is starting to gain a lot of traction as maybe one of the best coaches in NFL history. Can he keep winning? Can he get better? Probably. We'll see. They have all of these great guys that we all are 99.9% sure are going to keep winning and keep getting better and keep climbing up these ranks. I'm not really sure of another franchise that I have more confidence in to win long-term more than the Chiefs, like across all sports. I don't have as much faith in any of the franchise than I do the Chiefs and continue winning championships. And I think since the Patriots back in the late 2010s, I think this is the most realistic team to repeat in a Super Bowl.
Travis Kelce is already a top 5 tight end all time, in my opinion. I don't think it's close. And the Chiefs are going to go down as the only team in NFL history where the best player and the second best player at a position are both from the same team. Tony Gonzalez is by far the greatest tight end of all time. Travis Kelce, by the time he's done, I believe will be better than Tony Gonzalez. Patrick Mahomes, to me, has the ability. He is the only person right now that can catch Tom Brady. That's it. He is the only person to me that has a realistic shot of going down as the greatest quarterback of all time. Andy Reid. Andy Reid, to me, is a top 10 coach all time, undoubtedly, in my opinion. I think that Andy Reid, with one more Super Bowl, would make a drastic jump. I see the Chiefs losing in the AFC Championship game, though. So where I think they are the best team in this division, I think that this is the year that somebody else, Joe Burrow, steps up and kind of moves into the Super Bowl this year. But regardless, they're the best team in football. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football right now. And Andy Reid is probably the best coach in football right now. So when you have the best player, the best coach, and the best offense, you're the number 1 tight end. And the best tight end. Chris Jones on that defensive line.
Yeah.
He's going to be an anchor and a stud. I mean, they've got just a great team.
So run back through your AFC West from top to bottom. We got the Kansas City Chiefs, the LA Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Denver Broncos. 1 through 4, AFC West. One more division, probably going to be the hardest one to do. We're going to have a hefty conversation. But yeah, we're going strong on this series. See you next time on that.
Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.